Got I would say big news, something that's been in the works now for damn near 2.5 years, I would say. All right, so welcome back, episode 63.
What's up, Dan?
What's happening?
Hey.
Got Frankie and Jake.
Back on it.
Got I would say big news, something that's been in the works now for damn near 2.5 years, I would say. We are launching and have launched Lincoln Production.
Lincoln Productions. Here we are. I went with Frankie after working on lots of different motion and videography projects, pitched to Dan to create a division of Lincoln Design Co. that's all focused on production, videography, motion, 3D, and creating kind of a different sector that's all focused on that.
Yep. Yeah, which I thought was a great idea when you guys kind of came to me with that. We do a lot of that work, and it's like, how do you show that work along with the branding and all the other work we do, you know? And the concern was that it kind of gets lost in a way, you know, or it all mixes together, you know, and I'm kind of going to a client going, hey, we can do your video and motion work, you know, and there needs to be a spot where it's like, and this is what it looks like. It's a totally different process and, you know, totally different projects, and some of it is for clients that we do design work for. Some of it is 100% this client we only do video and motion work for, you know.
Right.
So it's cool. But when doing something like that, what do we got to do first? We got to make a logo.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So then it's
Square
like,
one.
oh shit, do we make a new logo? Do we just remove design and put production in there? And it was like, no, let's like figure out a new mark, you know, that kind of represents, you know, production and motion and video. And Frankie kicked it off with a great concept that kind of right off the bat was like, oh shit. And it was for the retreat.
Yeah.
We kind of knocked it out quickly, like, hey, what about this? When we start talking to the team about this, show this. You know?
And I started design, and that was my favorite part. It's a window, but it's also different screens, different aspect ratios, and then we had Tim work on it a little bit more.
Yep, hand it off to Tim to kind of just polish it up, get everything aligned, to see what type looks like locked up with it. I mean, it's great because you get the LP in there, which is cool, as well as the screens and everything. So there is a reason for it, which I think is great.
So what I thought was super cool is that Frankie did a round, you did a round, and then Tim took it really close to final, and then Dustin put that final polish of type. So it went through a few in the studio, which was super cool.
Yep. And a lot of projects, you know, like that, work like that here, you know, where somebody starts it, somebody jumps in the middle, and somebody will take it to final. You know, it's kind of how we roll. And you guys in the same way, you know, you guys kind of collaborate a lot on these video and motion projects, which is very similar. We have a huge focus on growing this team. We're talking to motion designers to get in here, and we have some options and things. So definitely very focused on diving in deeper in this side of the business.
Yeah, and we have some shooters too. Logan, shout out.
Yep, shout out Logan. Got some good
sure.
shooters on board that help us out when the projects get bigger. But let's go back, because I feel like the very first project that was like, I would say a Lincoln production project that you two collaborated on, that we pitched to a client, mood boards, concepts, stylescapes, got the client to buy off on it, then went out and shot. Water, dirt, frickin' bikes and shit.
Tor making a jump with some plywood, driftwood.
It was driftwood, like it
driftwood
was random. So.
On a log, on a mini bike that is stretched. Like, I forgot what he calls that mini
bike.
Big
tuna.
Big tuna. It's stretched out. But yeah, let's back up and talk about that, because that was cool. We wanted to do a commercial for the One Moto show and CC.
Yep.
And Frankie, you put together the whole pitch deck. We pitched it to Tor. And Tor, I mean, he's done some fun shit in the past, and I think we all kind of knew he was just gonna be like, well, let's do it, fuck yeah, you know, like, so, and he was down.
I will never forget those meetings in the beginning, just talking with Tor about ideating like what we should do.
Because one of the original ideas was putting up his green screen, bringing his boat over to the house, and him in the boat and us like throwing water on his face and shit.
Like fans blowing his air.
And finally we're like, well, why don't we just go down to the river and actually like shoot the thing?
Dan's like, I got a boat.
Yeah,
like, come on. So that's what we did. We took the boat out on the Willamette.
Took the boat out. Took Tor's boat out with a bike in the boat. My boat to follow. Went to the beach. Like, it was kind of an ordeal.
Oh yeah,
big ordeal.
You know?
Yeah.
It's like I had asked Frankie, like, can you bring whatever random shit from your house that you can? We need to dress the scene.
And some of it was impromptu. I had some bongos in my trunk that I did not plan on bringing, but they ended up in the edit.
Yep.
There's one shot that I always think about where we wanted George on the mini bike that he's riding while the boat's driving. So Tor was laying down in the boat with his arm on the motor, like pulling the direction,
steering it.
And if you zoom in on the shot, you can see Tor's little hand like pulling the boat.
And it's almost funnier leaving it in. We were like, should we take that out? Because I could, rotoscope it out or whatever. But it's
like, no.
It's hilarious. It's campy.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
that was, we wanted to make it campy.
Totally. Yep. Yeah.
It's silly, you know?
Yeah, it turned out great. And then in the end, you brought it all together with the satellite up in the sky, the CC logo, and then it zooms in on the island.
Yeah, there's a CC space station.
Yeah, we had the drone footage, so it was like, how do we kick this thing off?
Right, and not just start with the drone.
Cool. Well, yeah, that was kind of the one that kicked it off. You guys collaborated on that, and then we've ever since been, cranking on projects similar to that. So it was finally time to let's make this official. Let's get it set up here in the studio. Let's make a production company out of this, and get this thing rolling, because we keep getting asked to do more and more of it, And we've talked about in the past, that even if it's just social media, it's not enough, to put up a static logo. People want to see, what does that thing look like when it moves? So Frankie's always busy cranking on that stuff. So, and then as far as the video work, we get more and more of that. So it's cool. And then quickly after that, you guys collaborated on Hot Wheels monster trucks. Mm-hmm. I mean, you did a ton of work on it with 3D and given very little assets.
Yeah. Megarex was my first job when I came on to Lincoln. And so they're intros for the Hot Wheels monster trucks when they come into the stadium or wherever they are.
Yeah, their live show that they travel around and do. Yeah,
and so that one, they gave me a couple of images, and that was pretty much it. And we're like, make something. So we did, and then they want new intros for new trucks or whatever, and sometimes they'll have video to use, and that's where Jake and I can collab more.
The first one I ever worked on was the Bigfoot truck.
Oh, Bigfoot!
Which I was just super stoked to be working on anything monster trucks, and I think it's cool. Hot Wheels is making their own monster truck series, and the live event aspect too. I mean, credit to Frankie for sure, where he's doing a majority of all of these with 2D and 3D animation. Yep. But some of them need to have live action footage, so I'll help out with editing that, and then sometimes we'll do the sound design on those projects. But
Yeah, with these projects, it's it's hard for one individual to do everything because it's just a lot of stuff that you wouldn't necessarily think about. With logos, it's you design the logo and that's it. Yeah. But with video or 3D, it's like, okay, 3D's modeled. Okay, now animate it. Okay, now render it. Okay, now the footage needs to be edited together. Sound design, and that doesn't even get into like pre-production stuff with storyboards and planning and all that.
There's a lot that goes into it.
Definitely. And it seems to be like different every time with kind of like what they're either supplying us with or how much they want. They kind of lean on Lincoln and Frankie to actually make this like a good intro.
Monster truck. Monster truck.
That's cool. Yeah, it's cool. It's different from Monster Jam. It's for a little younger crowd because it is like the trucks are a little bit wilder, but it's cool. It's fun. Let's jump into a recent one because I think this thing turned out amazing, and the client we've talked about time and time again because he's just a great client, great dude. Great product, but High Street Deli. High Street's been a client of ours for, I don't know. It's probably been about 8 years. Anyways, we rebranded his sandwich shop down in San Luis Obispo. It's on High Street. Sells a ton of merch, makes amazing fucking sandwiches and shit.
So good.
We went down there one time. We shot a chop up there, did a whole video thing. You were wearing a Yeti suit, right, at some point?
Yep.
Yeah.
In the Yeti suit.
Yep. Yeah. So that was one of the trips down to LA. He recently wanted some new promo videos, and Frankie came up with some wild ideas, and which is now the High Street Deli commercial, which has smoke and animated characters talking to Doobie and the whole deal, and a giant sandwich. And
it was from the illustration.
We did a tee with this big old stacked sandwich thing. Turned that into a skateboard. It's on the side of board shorts. Like, he's used it on a bunch of different shit.
Yeah.
And you turn that thing into 3D.
Yeah, it's like, well, let's make it infinite. Yeah. And sky high. Yeah, and then the intro, I think there's like a Disney commercial where Walt is talking to the camera.
Yep.
And there's all these characters, animating around him. So that was the reference for that, because there are all these characters that you've created. And the main character, Sando, he's just this little sandwich with Australian accent and the attitude. You can have fun with Doobie.
Yeah.
He's a serious guy, business owner.
Yeah.
But he's down to clown, as some would say.
Hey guys, Doobie here out here in Baywood Park, Los Osos. I'm hanging with my main man, my Sando sensei. What's up, Sando?
What's up, Doobs?
We're talking about how to make
and assemble
and construct that perfect sandwich.
Enough with the small talk, Doobs. Get to the good
Take it easy, Sando. We don't want your sandwich buzz blowing up in smoke.
At High Street Deli, we use the best ingredients and the highest quality herb. We stack our sandwiches high, real high, with weekly deals like the infamous 420 special and the stylish Munchie combo. You are bound to catch some green, the other kind of green. You should definitely roll up.
Wow, holy Sando, Doobs.
Yeah, that was a trip. Who's hungry? Let's go eat.
High Street Deli, super famous Sandos.
So yeah, it was a fun one. Let's jump into a couple more here. So one client that we have over the last couple of years, we've done a lot of work with Kabota tractors started out with a lot of 3D social media graphics.
Yeah.
And they kind of got a little crazy.
They got a little wild.
They got a little wild towards the end where Beth and Kabota, they had the great ideas for like different holiday releases and videos and promos, but there would be a full story with this. And I always kind of looked at Frankie like, are you gonna be able to do this? Like what? There's like elves running through the Candyland forest and the tractor's driving, and I'm like, where does this tractor come from? And Frankie's like, yeah, I got this. Like,
yeah,
like that one in particular.
That,
yeah,
I'm like, okay.
Yeah, how am I gonna do this?
Yeah. But yeah, we did it, and but now I think we're it's maturing, you know.
Yeah, we switched gears a little bit more and are now focusing more on video projects for them. But it did start heavy animation, you know, for them, which was and there's some cool things that came out of that.
Yeah, I think the odometer one is pretty cool.
Yep.
I think that was Beth's idea.
Yeah.
Shout out Beth.
Yes,
Definitely.
that's cool. Yeah.
But
Even the horse racing one.
Oh yeah, yeah,
know,
yeah. You love that one.
I do.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah.
It was a fun idea of the tractors and the carnival kind of horse racing thing.
I think that was one of the first 3D ones where I was like,
It was, yeah.
okay, we can do this. Yeah,
That's cool. But then we'll have fun clients and projects where Timberland.
Yeah, that was another one.
Innovation is at the heart of everything that we do.
It's more 2D with 3D elements sprinkled
We're
in.
doing this by bringing to the market for the first time a product for us to achieve these goals through circularity. That product is the Timberloop Trekker. This is an industry first. Each piece or each component through the upper, the inner lining, the sock construction, the midsole and the outsole all have their respective places within the recycling streams.
And then during that time, that's when we filmed the first Kabota country video with the Reed family.
Yes, let's talk about that. That was huge.
That's still one of my favorite projects to date. This is when we originally went to Kabota and started talking to them about action sports and showing the brand using the equipment in other industries besides farming and agriculture. So we did a story on Chase Reed, who is a young motocross rider, and how his dad built the track for him in the backyard. So that was, I thought, where we really kind of like took it a step further than the one moto shoot. And then we went through and had multiple days of shooting with a couple different shooters, did interviews, and got to film Chase jumping the tractor with his bike. And that was a super fun project.
That was fun.
That was cool. Yeah. And that, I had his dad over for a Super Bowl party, and his dad was like, "Oh, I bought a new tractor," and I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah, check it out," and he shows me the photo, and it's Chase's bike, which he rides a KTM, orange, leaning up against the Kabota tractor, and I'm like, "Dude," Kubota's one of our clients, and he's like, "What?" And I'm like, "Yeah, we do a ton of work with them." And I'm like, "Are you building a track with the tractor?" And he's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Oh, dude, let me send me more photos, and let me show these to Kabota." So showed those to Beth, and she was like, "Yeah, let's do something," so it kind of all spawned from that, which was great.
But that one was really story driven. I think you did a very amazing job with that one.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, which is cool. They used a bunch of photos that you shot from that day on their website to promote Kabota Country, and a whole Father's Day deal wrapped around it, which was cool. Yeah, so let's go back real quick and talk about your guys' backgrounds, because you guys both come from, I would say, something a little different than what you're actually doing right now today. Like, you come from photography, went into video, you started in design, went into motion. And I mean, that's like I've talked about on here before with like Brandon and Damaso, both going to school for animation and becoming full-time illustrators. Like, it's like if you're in college or doing freelance and you're kind of a new designer or whatever it is, like, you don't have to 100% be stuck in what you went to school for or what you're doing. Something might pop up and you dabble in animation a little bit and you're like, I like this way better. Let me kind of start doing projects here. And then that just kind of snowballs into like, now you're an animator, type of thing. Yeah. And that was what, Damaso and Brandon's kind of route, like school degree in animation and haven't done it since, so that's cool. Yep. It's awesome. And then you sent a video interview of yourself for for the resume type of thing.
Yeah,
Like,
was he the only one that did it? Or?
Yeah, like hardly. I
Yeah.
don't think anybody else did, or there might have been one other person, but it was awkward. But yeah, you had sent, and it was like, well, yeah, the fucking great idea. Like you're applying for as a videographer, so videotape yourself and talk to me, and
Makes sense.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Maybe we could pop that up on.
I don't know if I still
man.
have that. Jake's like, I'm deleting that shit. I'll go back and try and find that link.
Man, when I saw that post and everything stopped, I like hired a couple dudes to help finish off some of the freelance projects and just went all in.
Yeah. That's cool. All right, let's talk about another client real quick. Monster Energy. So we do a lot of different motion graphics projects for them. Some of that is very heavy 3D work.
Yeah, and that's something we've been doing a lot of 2D stuff and a little bigger projects, and it's been fun. It's been good.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Nice. And then you've been all over the place lately. Jake's been on some missions, shooting a lot of rally car racing for Kabota tractors.
Yep.
We have, I'll let you talk about it, but we have some big videos coming up, and we can talk about those. But talk about the last 3 trips. And
yeah, so this is the similar to the Kabota country video for the Reed family with the motocross rider. I've been following along Alex and Rhiannon Gelsomino. So that is Travis Pastrana's co-driver and Ken Block's previous co-driver, and racing in the ARA championship. Oh. I saw them for 3-day when we went to Park City, Utah to celebrate Ken Block, and kind of started forming the relationship with them and telling the story about how, Ken Block's co-driver fell in love with Travis Pastrana's co-driver and how they founded a school together. And so we started out with the Olympus Rally. That is up in the Olympic National Forest in Washington. There's 150 miles of rally road. So I had to put together a crew. Shout out to Darren Higgins, who's behind the camera right now, and his boys.
And his sons came out, and yeah.
And then
cool.
Also shout out to Waypoint PDX, Scott coming through, shooting FPV drone. But the reason for such a big crew on this shoot is because we were literally spread across 150 miles of forest. And when the process is you go out there, you hike into this location to where you can shoot the car, and you have maybe like a 6 or 7 second window of when they pass. And then you immediately got to get back in the car, go through the road, and start hiking to the next location. So it was 3 days, 14-hour days, 16-hour days of chasing these guys, running their rally cars and shooting drone, and then a bunch of men on the ground, and yeah, super fun. So that was the first shoot, and then there was another shoot which was in Oregon for the second rally, and similar thing. Shout out to Vlad, who has been shooting Ken for years. I met him at the Olympus Rally and taught me a lot about how this works and how to get the shots. And he went out and then helped Josh, your son, who went out and filmed in Oregon.
Oh yeah. My middle son he does some video editing for us and stuff. So I told him before that trip. Well, even he went with us to Park City, Utah as well. And I kind of told him before that, I'm like, this is tough watching you do it. Like, and we had a client, Bourbon Lore, that we did a lot of video, shoots on. We would fly out to Kentucky and shoot, and kind of like being by Jake's side and watching him, get up and, 6 a.m. and be shooting from like, there was one time in Kentucky from like 8 a.m. till 1 in the morning. Like we bounced from place to place to place, like shooting the whole fucking time. And so I was telling Josh, I'm like, this next trip is I said, to me, you're going to decide or know really quickly if you want to shoot video for a living, because this is part of it. And there's nothing easy about like going out there and shooting cars and standing in the sun and running around and you're fucking dirty and all this shit. I don't do it, but I've watched you do it. And I'm like, that looks rough.
Yeah.
Like,
Just stay like mentally,
Yeah.
and
you got to make sure
centered.
the camera's charged and the settings are right and fucking wipe it off, and just so much goes into it that I was telling him, I'm like, dude, you might hate this. Like, go check it out. Let me know what you think. But he had a great time.
Yeah, and he's done a great job.
A lot of these shoots you're talking about are a part of a big video project that we're working on.
Yes. So this is the story of the Gelsaminos. So we shot them at 2 of the events that they actually competed in and raced at. And then I just shot this past weekend at Dirtfish Rally School. So they're also, they founded a company together and they're teaching rally co-driving, partnered with Dirtfish. So going to go and see that and film that is going to be another really important part for this final shoot that's coming up soon. There's big names. There's really cool stuff going down there. That'll be coming out soon. I don't want to say too much about it, but all those shoots are going to end up into one final branded documentary for Kabota. So
yeah, it's going to be cool. It's going to be great. Yeah, so a lot more of that coming from Kabota for sure in the next, 6 months to a year. You shot Mike B, Black Flag. That was sick.
Yeah, that was super fun.
The photos are
are great. Yeah.
There wasn't a super specific like deliverable per se that was like due, so I went out and I went hard on still photography because I had spent a lot of time focused on video projects. So I was like, I want to get, my flash and go out. And so shooting from the pit, the legend Mike V, with
are awesome.
one of my favorite bands. So that was a fun project.
Perfect. All right. Well, we got to wrap this thing up, but we got a lot of cool shit coming from Lincoln Productions. So where can everybody see it?
We have the work up on Vimeo, and then we'll also have the Instagram account, start populating that and showing motion specific work.
Yep. Perfect. Yeah. So check it out. More to come from you two. We're going to add some people to the team, and big projects on the horizon. So very good. All right, fellas. Well, stoked to get this thing rolling, and it's going to be great.
Hell yeah. Thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. All right. Until next time. Check it out. Follow us on YouTube, and we'll be back.